Hi, my name is Harold Edwards, and my performance support project is the Perfecting Church Assimilation Engine. The Perfecting Church, or TPC, is a progressive, non denominational church whose mission is to catalyze change in the lives of men, women, and children through the transforming power of God, enabling them to discover and live God's unique plan for their lives. TPC is comprised of people from all walks of life and cultural backgrounds, and with varying gifts. TPC exercises influence in the realms of family and community, athletics, business, media, politics, education, and arts and entertainment. Specifically, as it relates to education, arts, and entertainment, TPC has put a significant amount of attention on worship arts and celebrating diversity of artistic expression in a liturgical context. The challenge has been assimilating new members of the worship arts community, or the WAC, and expanding the church and the worship arts community's understanding of worship arts and fostering an environment and openness to unique ways of worship. In efforts to advance this endeavor, and also enhance TPC's corporate worship experience and to approach this challenge, the church's leadership, they want to start a training model or workshops for prospective worship arts community members. So TPC is predominantly Black, African, Caribbean, Asian, and white, with abilities to think and form complex ideas as it relates to the divine, worship, as well as community. So worship arts at TPC has been inclusive of secular and sacred music performances. It's also included liturgical and modern dance, theatrical performances, spoken word or poetry, thematic set design and staging, improvisation, and live worship and prophetic painting. It's important to note here, finally, that TPC has a culture of learning. They frequently have new members orientation, vision or mission workshops, discipleship training, auxiliary program and activity training, performing arts training, as well as a thing that they call perfecting cell groups, which are Bible study cells that's held at specific members' homes, and they invite other members to join them to sort of unpack the learning from Sunday morning worship services. So, key concepts: the performance support model for the new worship arts community learners will be designed based on the CREDE 5 standards for effective pedagogy and learning. So, the engine is designed to create a common context for all experiences through joint productive activities, as well as language development, which will encourage learners to work together. Also, encourage learners to teach language, meaning, and values in the context of worship arts, creativity, and innovation. The engine is also designed to be relevant, showing how new learning and abstractions are drawn from and applied to everyday life. And then also, the engine is designed to include instructional conversations, which will reduce the distance between the facilitator and the learners by way of lessons embedded with a common understanding of the learner's experiences and their ideas. In the end, learners will be able to gain new insights on how to worship, and gain new insights on worship arts and what worship arts is at the Perfecting Church. This is being equipped to engage in worship and the arts at the church differently using their new understanding. Additionally, learners will be able to gain a better understanding of and connection to the divine, themselves, and others. They should be able to assimilate within the worship arts community, and this will be evidenced by their role in identity development within the community. And then finally, just a celebration of diversity in the community as well as diversity in the worship arts. So here's an example of one of our in-person team building. One of the divisions of the worship arts community is called Seven Electricity. It's our vocal ensemble. And here you see photos of them engaging in an improvisational activity as part of the Assimilation Engine. The activity was called The Tallest Tower, which is a familiar and popular team building activity. So the participants were divided in self-formed groups and given a box of spaghetti, mini marshmallows, 1 yard of adhesive tape, and 1 yard of string. And they were tasked with designing and building the tallest tower, as the title suggests. And so, as a semi-participant in the agenda, but primarily an observer, I just endeavored to note and glean any information from the observation that would shed light on ideational thought, divergent, convergent, and metaphorical thinking, differences in personality, just remote associations, as well as their cognitive processes. As another implementation example of the Perfecting Church Assimilation Engine, here I thought that it would probably be helpful or valuable to share a form of worship arts that, also highlights improvisation. So a faction of the worship arts community is gathered for a community singing practice that is called circle singing. And this was coined by a composer and vocal genius based out of Philadelphia, but is well known globally. His name is Bobby McFerrin. And so at the heart of circle singing is improvisation, exploration of sounds, movements, rhythms, and just spontaneous musical inventions. And so a conductor creates and conjures musical ideas while in the center of a circle of supportive worship arts community members, awaiting to receive their assigned parts. And the conductor basically delegates the musical ideas to the individuals or groups of people in effort to create a counter melody of sounds and motifs. In this specific example that I'm going to play for you, it is me that's creating the sounds and creating the motifs, and as a conductor, I'm delegating parts to the worship arts communities. So that was just a snippet of an example of what circle singing is. So the goals of the assimilation engine is assimilation community and leading the perfecting church and new worship arts practices. This will be evidenced by the nature of collaboration, the role in identity development that emerges by way of the in-person and online workshops, and the effective leadership of the worship arts community members in our corporate worship settings. Assessment is formative during special collaborations and assignments, unless otherwise solicited. The Perfecting Church Assimilation Engine, as I mentioned before, will be online and in person, and it offers space and opportunity for the constructive struggle. But overall, assessment will primarily be facilitated reflection, and it will also be the responsibility of the learner. Some specific activities and practices may have stipulations or recommended tools, not rules, as guides, but these guides and stipulations will be the basis for any assessment and peer-to-peer feedback.